Those are all notes of the whole tone scale. Now, many of us get confused by all these fancy names of all these numerous scales. I once counted up to 648 scales. It's just ridiculous. In a major scale, there's 7 notes, and there are scales with 8 notes in them, and there's scales with probably more notes, and there's scales with just 5 notes, the pentatonic scales. But let's focus on the whole tone scale. What I mean by whole tone, the British word for step in American terms. When you skip a fret, that's a step, and when you skip a fret in British terms or UK terms, it's a tone. So therefore, whole tone, you're skipping a fret between each note. G, A, B, C sharp, D sharp, F, back to G. F, G, A, B, C sharp, D sharp, F, and G. When you play it across different strings, notice how I shift up a semitone, or a half tone, or a half step, semitone. Now shift back a semitone. Now, how do you remember those positions? Well, when you're playing off the E, the D, and the B string, there's a shape that forms like that. And when you're playing off the A string, a shape forms like this. A string, G string, and E string. That's one way you can remember your starting points. Now, these shapes remain true right up and down the fretboard. So here we go, across strings. Important to note that between the G and the B string, there's no fret shifting, because between the E string and the A string, and the A and the D, and also the B and the E, the guitar's tuned, as you know by now, in perfect fourth intervals. But between the B and the G string, guitar's tuned in a major third interval. Therefore, you've got to compensate the frets. Starting position. The simplest one I get wrong each time, which is between the G and the B string. The starting position stays the same. Right, up 1, down 1, I mean up 1, same, down 1. Starting positions. Got me? As your starting positions with the whole tone scales. Now you can skip frets, skip strings. And go backwards. And start changing your permutations of the notes, and just see what happens. But you first need to know where those whole tone notes are. Now, good luck, and with time, I think you're going to find some interesting concepts might result for you. Maybe they won't. But you're training your brain. It's like branches on a tree. I once counted about 8 years ago. No, I'm lying. About 6 years ago, when I learned my first scale, because I used to play by ear. I could put a record on and started playing guitar 50 years ago. But eventually, I learned how to just play by listening to music. In the last 6 years, I've done a huge amount of research off YouTube videos, because I love training myself. I'm self-educated via correspondence. I've studied over 11 years in academic circles in finance and taxation, accounting, auditing, but that's besides the point. I've got a healthy brain and I like to feed it, and I tell you now, this fretboard feeds my mind like nothing else. And it's up to you where you take some of this theory. But this is, anyway, about 6 years ago when I got into skulls, I once counted on my fingers, I documented it, that I worked out there were 686 scales. I think there's a lot more than that, because you get 7-note scales, 5-note scales, pentatonic, where you all normally start with scales, A minor pentatonic, need I say, and 5 notes in a scale, and there's poly scales. They've got numerous notes, more than 8 sometimes. But the whole tone scale, probably used by jazz guitarists, like that's whole tone scale stuff. The more you keep at it and work out permutations for yourself, you're going to expand your mind. As I say, it's like branches on a tree. You're just shooting new sprouts all the time, and there's little neurons and nexons, whatever the axioms, whatever they call these things. I'm not a neuroscientist, like I'm an accountant. You're forming connections between, if you focus on what you're trying to achieve, not only the sounds you're making, but you're trying to train your brain here. And I tell you, you're going to, I believe you're going to be astounded what music you're going to be able to play one day when your brain catches up with all this stuff. But firstly, you've got to get under the physical attributes. There's the physical attributes of what you're trying to achieve, and then there's the mental attributes. I think a lot of us just want to get up there and boogie, and we don't focus enough on the actual brain training aspect, and it's the long scenic route to where you want to be. But I believe you're going to get a huge amount of satisfaction out of it, especially when you get to my age and plus. Give it a go, and thanks for watching this video, and thanks for all your subscriptions. I'm sitting at 440. Just on the 1st of December last year in 2022, I only had 6 subscribers. I've now got 440 and a few 100,000 hours of views, but not public views, because a lot of them were shorts. And I also started about 7 years ago, but only had 6 subscribers, so I wasn't pushing it. But I do thank you for watching, and if you go back, I've got over 1,000 videos, jams of myself jamming, looping. When I'm doing that sort of stuff, I'm practicing, or I'm just having fun, and then sometimes I play with a few mates, a few friends, and I hope you enjoy some of it. Some of it's tongue-in-cheek, some of it's a lot of fun, some of it's very serious, and if you look back, I'm sharing knowledge as I gain it with you all. And once again, thanks for viewing.